Warcraft Rumble officially released worldwide on November 3rd, and by now you might be looking to do some PvP, but there is a lot to know about PvP in this game. So in this video, I'm going to break down everything there is to know about PvP, including seasons, honor, which leaders and minis are the best, and more. I'm Funky Monki, and I was one of the first people invited to play this game during beta, and I was one of the top ranked players all throughout beta. So I'm here to share all my knowledge with you, as well as some tips and tricks, so by the end of the video, you can PvP more efficiently and be a better player. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So first things first, before we even get to PvP, we have to reach 8 sigils. And then when you click on that PvP button, you're greeted with a screen that looks kind of like this. First off, the rating or ranking system in this game is called honor. Every match that you win, you will get some honor. At first, you start gaining a lot of honor per win, but after a few games, it slows down to about 50 honor per win. And then if we look up here at the top, PvP is split up into seasons, and right now we're in season 1. And a season lasts 6 weeks, and we want to accumulate as much honor as we can within these 6 weeks, because after the season ends, any of your leaders that are above 3,000 honor get partially reset closer back to 3,000. And then if we look a little bit lower, we can see these 3 little icons right here that says Alterac Valley, Guard Towers, and Clean Fight. And this tells you what kind of modifiers you could expect in PvP, because every 2 weeks, one of these will change. And it's not random either. So first the map will change, and then 2 weeks later the towers will change, and then 2 weeks later the modifier will change, and then it'll go back to changing the map again and so forth. As far as the different maps, there's about 3 or 4 of them currently, but that could always change depending on what they want to remove or add. And they are vastly different. Some maps are bigger or smaller than others. Some have more gold, some have more chests. And then we also have 3 different towers. There's the Guard Tower, the Rocket Tower, and the Dragon Tower. The Guard Tower shoots physical damage, and the Rocket and Dragon Tower shoot elemental damage. And right now the modifier says Clean Fight, so there actually is no modifier currently, but sometimes they can be pretty crazy modifiers that affect both players. For example, one of them says everybody gets increased gold income. So these modifiers can really affect how you play the game. And certainly some leaders and troops are better on certain maps and against certain towers than others. For example, Baron Rivendare that has the armor trait might be good against the guard towers, while Dracasath might be good against the rocket towers because he has elemental resistance. So this way it encourages you to kind of pay attention to all of your leaders in your collection, because one week Hogger might be good, while the next week Baron Rivendare might be good. And then if we look a little bit lower down on this box right here, we can see our overall honor rating, which is this yellow number right here. And this only counts your top 3 leaders. So in my case, it's going to be Dracasath, Hogger, and Jaina. So you can see that the honor rating is not counting anything else besides those 3. So my Karin, Sylvanas, Chalaga, they do not count at all for my honor unless I play them more so they can be in my top 3. And as your top 3 leaders are accumulating honor, you're going to be getting these rewards every 300 or 400 honor rating. And the rewards can be pretty good too. They can vary all the way from tomes to help level up your minis, to more gold, all the way up here where you can get a legendary tome and a legendary core. And because your honor rating resets every season, you get a chance to climb back all the way up to the top every season to reclaim all these rewards, except for the rewards that are under 9,000 honor. Because your leaders can only be reset to 3,000 each, once you pass that 9,000 mark, you can't go under that, which means that you cannot reclaim all these rewards. And some of you may wonder as well, can I go down ranks? And the answer is yes. There's no rank floor in this game that prevents you from falling down too far. So right now I am Platinum Prodigy 2, but if I lose enough ranks, I can go down to Platinum Prodigy 1. But if I go back up to the next rank again, I don't get to reclaim all those rewards again. They're just a one-time deal until the next season. Now, when you first enter PvP, all your leaders are going to be 0, and it's pretty intimidating. You don't have to worry about if your leaders are going to be strong enough, because for the first 750 to 1,000 honor, you're going to be playing against bots, which are much easier. And up until 1,000 honor, everybody's minis are set to level 1, and then from 1,000 honor to 2,000 honor, everybody's minis caps out at level 3, and then from 2,000 to 3,000 honor, everybody's minis cap out at level 5, and then from 3,000 honor plus, there is no level cap. So you got to be very careful if you're going to be bringing your level 5 team into a 3,000 honor PvP match, because your opponent might be a level 9, and these honor brackets are per leader as well. So if you have a leader at 3,000 honor, you're not going to get punished or play against somebody higher level if you choose to start a new leader at 0 honor. And the PvP level for your minis is determined by your overall PvE level, or that mini divided by 3 rounded up. So it kind of sounds confusing, but basically if one of your minis is level 15, you divide it by 3, and then all of a sudden it's 5 for PvP. But if your mini is level 16, divided by 3, that would be 5.3. So if there's any decimal, you always round all the way up to the next number, which would be 6. So a level 16 mini in your PvE campaign would be a level 6 in PvP. So your overall campaign progress and PvE levels actually do matter for PvP, so it is worthwhile to do both. One cool thing about PvP in this game is your honor does count for your guild as well. And I highly recommend joining a guild because there's a lot of rewards that you could be missing out on if you don't. So the guild chest is everybody in your guild's contributions from surges and also from PvP, because every 200 honor that you accumulate with the highest leader of every faction will give your guild points for these tomes and for these rewards up here as well. Okay, so now that we know everything that there is to know about the system, let's talk more about actually playing PvP. You're probably wondering which leaders or which troops are best for PvP. And the answer is it can vary because of the map and tower and modifier changes every couple weeks. Certain minis will be better or worse during some weeks than others, but I would say overall, pretty much every leader is competitively viable in PvP, except for maybe Charlga. Sorry, Charlga. But as far as the easiest ones to play starting out that are still good, I would probably recommend Baron Rivendare, Tyrion, Hogger, Rend, or Gromosh. Those leaders typically don't require too much synergy and are pretty good on their own. The other leaders are also great in their own way, but may require a little bit more building around or synergy. As far as what kind of troops are best for PvP, there is a little bit more of a clear-cut answer there. And typically very cheap minis or unbound minis work really well in PvP because there are these gold nodes and the chests in the middle of the map that you have to fight over. So unbound minis being able to be played anywhere are really good to snag those chests for more gold and to defend those gold nodes so you can get the gold. Some examples of really good unbound units that you could use are Worgen, the Whelps, Quillbore, or Safe Pilot. And some other very cheap cycle units that you can use that are great are Defias Bandits or Griffin Rider. And then having a couple spells like Chain Lightning and Blizzard are also very good as well, because like with Chain Lightning, oftentimes you can kill something that's more than 2 gold, and with Blizzard you can kill some really big groups worth a lot of gold. You can get a really big advantage there. And the really cheap units are great to help you cycle towards your more powerful minis in your deck, or so you can quickly put down a mini to snag a chest, or to cheaply contest the enemy Kobold Miner so it doesn't get gold, so you can keep building up that gold advantage slowly but surely. And speaking of building up your gold advantage, there's a couple things that you want to know. Gold nodes respawn every 45 seconds, and chests will respawn 40 seconds after they're destroyed. So if you're more advanced of a player eventually, you can time these so you can send your Kobold Miner out before the mine even has gold in it, if you know that it's about to spawn gold after the 45 seconds, and same thing with the chests as well. You can keep track of when the 40 seconds is up since it was last destroyed. You can send out your minis ahead of time, so by the time that they get to the chest, it's already spawned and they can take it right away. And speaking of some tips, I got some more tips for you as well when it comes to PvP. First, it's all about gold, gold, gold. This game is all about winning by getting a bigger gold advantage than your opponent. So fighting over chests and gold nodes are extremely important. In fact, at the higher levels of play, nobody is actually going after towers. It's all just fighting in the middle over those gold advantages. And once you control the middle of the map and you have more of a gold advantage, then you can start going after the opponent's towers. And I would recommend to go after their towers first instead of their base, just because a tower is easier to get. And once you control those, it's a lot easier to control the middle of the map so you can keep pushing that gold advantage. And because this game is all about gold advantages, we want to be very sparing with how we spend our gold. One of the biggest mistakes I see new players making is to not be patient enough and just throw out all their gold as soon as they have enough gold to play a mini. But one problem with this is if the opponent has a surprise attack using a bunch of unbounds, you don't have any gold left to defend it, or if the opponent is able to efficiently counter the minis that you just placed, you don't have any gold to defend the minis that are coming back at you. So in this game, you want to be both proactive and reactive. You want to be proactive in the middle of the map to try and get those resources like the chests and the gold nodes, but you want to be reactive in a way that you want to see what your opponent plays first so you can put down a mini in that same lane that can counter it. And speaking of bases and towers and being patient, the attacks that our towers and bases do actually do a decent amount of damage, so we can use them to our advantage. Sometimes it's better to let an opponent's mini get closer to our tower and then put down our mini, so that way not only do our mini attack their mini, but our tower can as well. So it's just free damage. Or sometimes I'll let a mini start hitting my tower or start hitting the base, so that way it can be distracted, and then I'll put down maybe a ranged unit to start attacking it. And lastly, if there's any map that has any high ground or a bridge to it, it's really important to control that area because your ranged minis can hit enemy minis down below. So oftentimes there's a switch in the lane to either go towards the tower or go towards the high ground. And if I don't have a good enough push to maybe take out the tower, I'll switch the lane so I can take the high ground instead, so I can control the middle of the map like the gold and the chests. Well, that's gonna wrap up my guide to PvP in Warcraft Rumble. If you found any of the information in this video helpful, then let me know by leaving a like down below. Once again, I'm Funky Monki, and I dedicated this channel to high-level PvP content. So if you love PvP or want to get better at it, then consider subscribing. But I'll see you in the next video. Stay funky.